Today's topic is deep learning versus surface learning. I like to begin every lesson, discussion, or talk with a quote. Tell me, and I forget. Show me, and I may remember. Involve me, and I'll understand. In industry and in my professional development classes, I define this as the democratic leadership method, more clearly broken down into the tell, show, do, and coach method. What do we mean by this? Well, tell someone how to perform a task, show someone how to perform that task, allow someone to perform or do that task while coaching them through the process. The tell, show, do method. This can be aptly applied as a learning method in higher education. But what exactly does this have to do with deep versus surface learning? Well, I'll tell you. Sometimes our understanding of deep learning isn't all that deep, and that of surface learning isn't just at the surface. Typically, they are defined by what they are not. Prior to discussing deep versus surface learning independent of one another, I think it important to take a brief look at Edgar Dell's cone of learning, whereby cognitively, a passive learning approach is synonymous to surface learning, and conversely, active learning is to deep learning. First, let's discuss deep learning. Cognitive deep learning approaches or active learning behaviors would be such things as, I wrote my own study questions. I tried to figure out the answers before looking them up. I closed my notes and tested myself on how much I remembered. I broke down complex processes step by step. Let's discuss an example of deep learning, taking a student attending a class or a lecture. Ashley is academically committed. She is bright, interested in her studies, and wants to do well. She has clear academic and career plans, and what she learns is important to her. Ashley comes to the lecture with relevant background knowledge and a question she wants answered. During the lecture, she finds an answer to that question. It forms the keystone for a particular arch of knowledge she is constructing. She reflects on the personal significance of what she is learning. Students like Ashley virtually teach themselves. They need little help from us. The way Ashley learns fits the description of a deep approach to learning. Cognitive surface learning approaches or passive learning behaviors would be such things as, I came to class. I reviewed my notes. I made index cards. I highlighted the text. Let's discuss an example of surface learning, taking another student attending class or lecture. Here we have Jimmy. He's not interested in a particular subject, nor does he have a burning ambition to excel in a profession. But he does want to obtain a degree to get a job. Jimmy's not even studying in the area of his first choice. He is less committed and has a less developed background of relevant knowledge. He comes to the lecture with no questions to ask and only wants to put in sufficient effort to pass. Jimmy hears the professor say the same things as Ashley, but he doesn't see a keystone or cornerstone, just another brick to be recorded on his lecture notes. He believes that if he can record enough of these bricks and can remember them on cue, he'll keep out of trouble come exam time. Jimmy appears to adopt a surface learning approach. The teaching challenge is precisely to change his usual way of learning, not to see it as an impediment to teaching him. Let's review Dell's cone of learning one more time. Surface learners were defined as those only focused on grasping the main points and memorizing them, simply scraping the surface. Deep learners explored the meaning behind the topic and attempted to relate it to other knowledge to aid their understanding. Thank you for watching this segment on deep versus surface learning.